Today we're talking about crunchy Christianity. Is granola the food of the gods?
Basically, it's nutritional Marxism. I think self-righteous people in every category are in sin. If you're spending your time being a vaccine crusader, I wonder how many people you share the gospel with that week.
There's people in our church that they were like, don't do that podcast, you're going to get murdered.
Anyone that disagrees with me, come talk to me. My ears clogged up, my eyes are watering. I don't know what to, I'm allergic to greatness.
This is why I'm glad Shauncy started doing those like intro, hey, this is what's coming in this podcast, because no one would still be listening. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the A Lot of Words podcast. I'm Brett Shainick. Joined with me as always is Pastor Matt Smith, senior pastor at Brabus Road Church, and Shauncy Green on the ones and twos, the guy who puts it all together, who's building this house, the wizard of what we call Oz.
What are ones and twos? What is that?
It's like on the board. You know, I'm doing a pretty eloquent introduction.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to know what that was.
And I have, it's like a turntable, like running ones and twos. It's like, would you refer to like anyone doing audio or video? Yeah, but running the ones and twos. That's what Dr.
Is it like a line on the thing?
It could, yeah, like channel 1, channel 2. If you know what ones and twos are,
I'm not calling you out.
Please validate me.
You just, when I talk, you tell me, what's that word mean? I'm like, do that to you.
This is going to be gack all over. Also, before Matt shares this video, he's very excited about wigwam. If you know what wigwam socks are,
it's like an Indian tent or something.
It's a Native American tent.
Christopher Columbus said they were Indian, so no offense, Native Americans.
There's none of them are listening. I said wigwam.
People are tuning in. They're like, "What is this show?"
We're debating what the name of these socks are.
It's a lot of words. Did you already say all that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, now share your video.
Well, no, last week we were talking about the Russian video with the bear workout video, and I just found it, and so Shauncy's going to put it right here. Is that? I'm assuming it's playing while I'm talking.
Is it an upper third?
It'll be right here while I'm talking. And so just while look at this video.
It's just going to be
there's just
two bare-chested
he's going over, then punching, going over his head, and the bear in the background is pushing up and down. And it is real. It is not AI. This is before AI. This does not make sense.
It's pretty amazing.
This is better than you touching the bear.
Yeah.
This is better than anything. I mean, I
would have loved to be there. I would just want to be there.
That is
awesome.
That's amazing. So we figured the bear thing out.
We figured the bear thing out. We got wigwam socks. We got the bear. That all
came out because we're wearing the same shoes today.
Exactly. Yeah, we're wearing the exact same shoes.
We're not sponsored by the brand Red Wing.
Red Wing, not wigwam.
And we're not sponsored by them yet.
No, but if you work...
We're not sponsored by anyone.
If you work for Red Wing, please...
You can be the first.
Give us endless boots. I think they have a lifetime warranty. You're still offended that my laces aren't leather.
It's really terrible. And you missed a hole.
No, I skipped that one. I broke it off. That could be a whole episode in itself. Why
is anyone tuning into
how my laced shoes bother you so much?
All right, what are we talking about
today? We're talking about crunchy Christianity.
Oh, right.
Crunchy Christianity. Is granola the food of the gods?
Is this from that question last week about the...
Yeah. I wanted to do this like 3 weeks ago, but then another podcast that I listened to came out with the exact same thing, so I didn't want to look like we were copying it.
I think I'm allergic to something. My ears clogged up. My eyes are watering. I don't know what to... I'm allergic to greatness. Brett.
This is why I'm glad Shauncy started doing those like intro, hey, this is what's coming in this podcast, because no one would still be listening.
All right, let's do it. I don't even know. So
I'm going to start with a question. Technically, I'm going to start with a shout out, a new section called shout outs. So shout out to Tim Osborne.
Okay. Do we just name people and shout out?
Well, so someone was like, man, you're great at that podcast hosting thing. And I said, I learned everything I knew from Tim Osborne. So here's a shout out to Tim Osborne. That's probably not that true. He recently got super fired from his job. And so if you're looking for a growth marketer, contact me and I'll get you in touch with Tim Osborne.
I make my shout out to Jesus.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Mine's not as good as that, but
he's great.
Do you remember Clarence Larkin, who made the Larkin charts in Revelation? The intro, if you can go find this on the internet, Clarence Larkin.
Yeah, he dedicates his book to Jesus.
Oh my goodness.
It's great. It's like a football player.
I love it. I wrote your foreword. And then he's like, this book is dedicated to Jesus Christ.
Amen. I need to dedicate.
Go check out Larkin charts. They're amazing if you want to understand Revelation. Matt also preached through it.
So we're going to do crunchy Christianity. So then
it's okay.
What does that mean?
Crunchy Christianity. I knew you would ask that. So I asked ChatGPT to define it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wow, there's a definition.
It literally says give me the definition. I know in the panoply of things that you know, this definition is probably not going to be one of them. Crunchy Christianity. I'm going to start I'm running the show here. I'm going to start with a question.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll get into Crunchy Christianity.
Okay.
So this question, I want to get to 2 at the end too. We'll see how it goes. But I know if I get going on this, I'm never getting to the question. So we'll start with 1. We'll have 1 at the end.
Okay.
Leads into my popcorn question. Matt, did you ever watch Barney as a kid? The big purple dinosaur?
I was too old for that.
You were too old for Barney?
I was born in 1979.
I mean, Barney was cool if you were in high school.
No, I don't think Barney
He was a
came out.
black belt.
When did Barney
karate.
come out?
I have no idea. Wasn't he a black belt in karate?
I think that's legendary. I think I told you that.
Wouldn't it be a legend?
Yeah, but I don't think but my kids watch, my oldest kids watch Barney. So.
Oh, I watched Barney.
You're younger than me.
Well, not as young as you.
You're a lot younger than me now.
I thought Barney was awesome.
How old are you?
I'll be turning 43.
I mean, so I'm 47 turning. Am I 47 right now?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm 47. I'm not 48. So yeah, I'm only 4 years older than you. So I don't think you watched it as a kid. I think maybe you were in high school watching Barney.
I very well could have been. We didn't have like a television with a clicker till I was in high school. We had to run up and turn the knob.
Oh,
so it was whatever was on channel 2.
All right. Yeah, that's
yeah, it's old. We were poor. But this comes from Carson.
okay.
He says the Christian response to dinosaurs. So I talked about Barney. What is a biblical response to the argument of dinosaurs contradicting the Bible? And thanks for your question, Carson. And if you have any questions, please go to alotofwordspodcast.com. Click the big button that says ask a question.
Yeah. Dinosaurs contradicting the Bible, like as if like
I think he's saying like
thesaurus rex, like that's not a good word. I mean, what is what would be contradictory about dinosaurs? Let me unpack that. So the age, there's a bunch of assumptions here. Let's just
there you go. Yes.
Nothing in the Bible would be against dinosaurs in any way. The conflict isn't whether there were dinosaurs. The conflict is whether the Earth is billions of years old or whether it's a younger Earth. There are a couple things. Like, so Job refers to dinosaurs clearly at the end of Job, right?
Yes.
40 to 42, basically. And he talks about Leviathan and Behemoth. And so you have the two basic views is Leviathan certainly looks like, so, okay, let me give you the most sort of like, I don't know, what do you want to call it? The most skeptical kind of view is that these were animals that were a hippo and like an alligator or something.
I think they say a platypus.
There's no but Leviathan describes like a giant creature with scales and teeth for doors and armor. And then it says when you rattle the saber and the spear doesn't do anything. So it says a few things. It also says he lives in the marsh, that when he comes down, his, smoking like fire from his nostrils. And so you have a few things. First of all, we don't know a lot about dinosaurs like we say we know. We assume quite a bit. We can build skeletons. I think dinosaurs roamed the earth. I think they're awesome. I love dinosaurs. I'm a big dino fan. However, if you ever look at those videos or pictures of what if they were fat and furry, like you can make them cute. Like if you look at the skeleton of a dolphin, it's terrifying. Or if you look at a skeleton of an elephant, it's a really scary skeleton. And imagine not knowing what an elephant looked like and imagining some ginormously powerful, strong, muscular looking creature with fangs or something like, in other words, what the animal looked like with flesh on it, we have some ideas. But let me go back. The picture in the Bible that dinosaurs existed. And then secondly, one of the fictions that we have to address, and maybe I don't want to go out too on a limb. I'm just not prepared to be articulate here. That's why it's a lot of words, not articulate words. Is Jurassic Park. One of the things I love is we forget, like in the book, when you read the book, one of the big things in Jurassic Park that's fictional but interesting was whether dinosaurs were warm-blooded or not. And so when you watch the movie, you kind of forget that was one of the premises. But in general, most people would think dinosaurs would be cold-blooded like reptiles, like the giant lizards, right? And the reason that Jurassic Park premised that for the plot was maybe they're related to birds, was that they're warm-blooded because that means they have a high metabolism, which means they move very quickly. When you have a high metabolism, you need to eat a lot and you need to hunt a lot. Whereas like an alligator can eat like once every 6 months or whatever it is and just kind of chill out, and they sit still for a long period of time and they can move quickly, but you can be on a golf course with a dinosaur called an alligator and you can just see it and just walk by it. Like it's not chasing you everywhere, but so you couldn't even imagine that. So like if you imagine dinosaurs as reptiles, I think it's less fun because you could have these giant sort of relatively alligator-like creatures that would be giant and scary, but not running through everything like velociraptors and T-Rexes. And then secondly, did dinosaurs and man coexist? I absolutely think they did. The Bible seems to indicate that. Most is dinosaurs would have died out in the flood. But you still have alligators, you still have different things. So that's my basic view. I think the earth is younger than we think. We've recently discovered like DNA and bones of dinosaurs. So we have to say, well, hey, wait, that's interesting. We've even found dinosaurs with actually skin on it and whatnot. So clearly dinosaurs exist. They are talked about in the Bible and in every ancient culture describes dragons and different things as like a normal occasion. So I just think that all evidence points to not only there being dinosaurs, obviously, but that they were often called dragons or serpents or whatnot, and that they lived among people. And so that really comports with what we see in the Bible and the fossil record. I think what really is at stake is whether I'd call it the mythology of sort of, long earth evolutionary idea where you had dinosaurs existing as an epoch of time separate than other things. I don't think that's true. So
yeah,
I don't know if that answers the question.
It does. Yeah. I think most people don't realize that Job speaks about them.
But I think the cold-blooded thing is interesting. Also, like lizards, like reptiles don't stop growing till they die.
Yeah.
So if you have things living for a long time, not stopping, well, that's kind of, imagine an alligator living for 500 years. Like that's,
especially pre-entropy.
Yeah. So anyways, there you go.
That's good. Yeah, Carson, you can also go to Answers in Genesis, has a ton of literature on this. And also you can watch a good movie called Is Genesis History?
And Jurassic Park.
Yes.
And you could look up furry dinosaurs. That's a fun.
Yeah. Or Barney, who is also a dinosaur.
He's a
purple
friendly.
All right. Crunchy Christianity. It's so crunchy.
What is the definition of it?
Well, I'm going to read that right now. Thank you for asking.
Yes, you're welcome.
Sometimes I have the answers too. I still love how ridiculous
you just hand me the paper.
Drinking that coffee.
I keep trying to do it.
It is the joke that keeps on getting. So, what are we doing? All right. Crunchy Christianity. I'll give you the definition that ChatGPT gave me.
There is no other place you'd find the definition than ChatGPT.
No. Yeah,
so
the crunchies define themselves as crunchies, and I refuse to go to any of their Reddit threads. I just can't.
There's people that call themselves crunchies?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yep.
It's like the furries. Okay, whatever. Keep going. What is it? I don't know what it is. It's like...
No. You don't. You're going to have to just hold your wad there for a second. All right. Crunchy Christianity is a mindset among some Christians that emphasizes natural living, skepticism towards modern systems, especially in food, medicine, and institutions, and a desire to return to what is perceived as a more God-designed or pure way of life. It often includes preference for organic, whole, and minimally processed foods, interest in natural remedies, supplements, and alternative health practices, skepticism of big pharma, government, and large institutions, a desire for simplicity, homesteading, or older ways of living, a strong emphasis on personal research and individual autonomy. That said, I'll ask you my first question.
Well, before you ask, let me just tell you what I think about the definition. Basically, it's nutritional Marxism because it's not saying...
That's first of all, amazing.
Well, this is the whole point of the show, right? Is we can see how to think worldview in real time. So the things you said there, if you look at that definition, and everyone think about what you just said, is you said things that are very sort of uninteresting. Oh, you prefer to eat good food, and you prefer to... Okay, none of those things are controversial. It's the reference to read again about the systemic, the systems there, and then personal research. So essentially, it's conspiratorial. It's built on the idea that there's a systemic sort of oppression. Big pharma. There's always so remember in Marxist thinking, you're always thinking of some kind of oppressor, and the problems that you have is that there's some sort of oppressor, and conspiracy really helps be the mechanism to push this. And so now you have big pharma. It's big sugar, and look. As I'm saying this, there's people getting really irritated with me right this second. Oh my gosh, don't you know? And they're somehow related to the Epstein files, I'm sure. So the big issue is no one's debating that there's financial incentives and structural institutions. No one's saying any of those things are problematic. The problem is once we start using the language of like oppression, oppressor, that you're being nutritionally oppressed and you need to basically free yourself from the matrix essentially and find this stuff, it takes on all the same structures of sort of cultural Marxism, the same ones you see about, critical race theory. And then you see in sort of the stuff in the stupid No Kings rally where I agree, we don't have a king. That's great. Yeah. So I just think that language, everything structures. Whenever you hear that word Q, whenever it's structured, there's that person's racist. Like, no, it's the institution. I'm like, well, then you can't, that word is always about destroying institutions of the West. It's revenge of the losers. I'll just answer everything right now and we can stop the show. Eat what you want. Crunchy Christianity. If you want to be healthy, be healthy. These people. Sorry.
No, that's good.
If you're a crunchy person, you subscribe, you're welcome. Sorry to blast you.
This is the first episode where we lose subscribers.
Yeah.
I know it. I'll
Those are the guys that like
apart.
our alien episode.
I'll break apart a little bit. So, is it ruling out, is it sinful is probably not there. Is it sinful to eat processed food? Let me go. Is it unwise as someone who is a steward of their physical body to eat processed food, processed food, McDonald's, Taco Bell? Yeah. Now I just want burgers, but
yeah. So we said this last week, just a kind of refresher. Some people, the question last week that prompted this was, if our bodies are a temple, we remind ourselves that's a reference not to nutrition, but to the fact that y'all's body is the plural. It's talking about the church being the set apart temple of God, and that what we do individually is parcel of affecting the whole. It's not a reference to our physical bodies, particularly in our health. That said, we are embodied souls. Our bodies matter. The things we do with our bodies matter. But the category of food is talked about in the Bible, and it is not a moral category. And so when you mentioned wise, that's a really key thing. I'm just catching everyone up. Of course, the people watching this episode probably watch all the episodes, so I don't need to do that. But which is why you should watch all the episodes. But no. So the question you're asking was what again? Because I had to I want to make sure you framed it. Oh, yeah. Wise.
Is it unwise? Knowing that we are, I'm not saying our body is a temple as scripture refers to the church. I'm saying that since we are stewards of our physical body, is it unwise to fill your body with processed food?
Yeah. Well, is it unwise to walk around without a helmet knowing things might fall on you? I mean, is it that this whole process of let's use COVID, for example. What's so funny.
I was not prepared for that response.
It was so good. I think I just nailed it in 1 second. The question is absurd because we don't make decisions about something being wise or not in a zero-sum game. We don't say, is it wise to not get sick? Of course it's wise to not get sick. Is it wise to wear a mask all day and live in a bubble so you don't get sick? No, because there's more factors than just not getting sick in life. We make all sorts of risk assessments when we do different things, right? So if I want to drive my car, is it wise to say driving cars can cause you to crash and die? Yes, it can cause you to crash and die. So is it wise to not drive cars? I don't know. It's up to you. I think that there's sort of a cost benefit here. There's a risk that you sort of assent to in operating. Now, is it wise to drive cars when you're drunk? No. So there's a whole scale of things. So I think when people ask these questions, I think moral categories is the reason people like them is that it gives them the ability to make absolute statements. But when you ask if something's wise, there's lots of things that come into play. So I'll give you an example. Is it wise to spend money you don't have to eat food that's hard to get, that's perishable faster, so that you might be more nutritious? And now you're spending all this time doing this when you could have just been working out and being relaxed, but instead you're giving yourself an aneurysm trying to find the food you're going to eat all the time. So if it's convenient to eat healthy and choosing healthy, that's great. And if you have an allergy or something, okay, I get it. If you want to try a diet, I'm totally all for people saying, hey, I want to try this thing. It's just when we want to weight the decisions as if there's an embedded ought and a should that we have to watch out for. And I'm really big on this. I love to push my preferences on people because I love them. And what I mean by that is if I have a preference for something, it's because I think it's the best thing. And I tell people about that preference because I want them to have it because I think it's the best. I mean, look, we're wearing the same shoes. Although, so I'm
I bought these first. I'll say it again.
Let's just go back. So my point is, I'm not even going to debate this.
I ride a motorcycle. That's why I have boots. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Not
ride a
just
motorcycle.
for show. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like your show boots. You're like a show pony.
That's true. I am a show pony. I don't go fight people all the time. But I still do jujitsu. But anyways, what were we saying?
Also ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Yes. It's just aggressive cuddling. You told me that I'm not fun to cuddle. And so I guess
let me stop there. I said you're not fun to hug. Because it's like
I gave you a hug one time because you were having a rough day and you're like, you are not a fun person to hug. I feel bad for your wife.
Yes.
That's what you said.
That's exactly what I said. Like hugging just rocks. Like there's no give.
That stayed with me.
Yeah.
So I just think the wisdom word, it's just too, it's too weighted, right? So it can be wise barring if you have a menu and you can choose things and you add price, money, time, the rest of your lifestyle. It makes sense like to choose good foods. Now there's genuinely things where people say, no, these things are poisonous for you, right? There's endocrine disruptors, there's microplastics, and so like you can just say, hey, I'm going to stop wearing microplastics. My son-in-law is wearing cotton shorts and amen. It's become a fun joke, but they're like receipts. When you get a receipt, did you know those thermogenic paper, they actually put warnings on them now that like it's an endocrine disruptor. So I got rid of, the air fresheners in your car. Same thing as endocrine disruptors and stuff. So we are living in an environment that's certainly kind of toxic to us in a lot of ways. And so, it makes sense to acknowledge that and to do stuff. But I just think we got to be really careful about how, like, what are we aiming at? You're not going to live forever. These things aren't moral categories. They're basic things where you might prefer one kind of shoe over another because it's better for you. I don't think you need to be doing research like big time, like just make good decisions. Like if you want to get into it, fine. But let me say this. Here's a good one to say. If you're researching like the chemicals in things and you can't tell me what Romans is about, your priorities are messed up. If you're a Christian and you can tell me all about the properties of the endocrine disruptors and XYZ, and you don't know what the book of Romans is about. And I say to you, what's Romans 3 about? What's Romans about? What's John about? You don't know that. I want to be honest to you. You are making a terrible investment of your time, first of all. But as a Christian, the idea that you're scrupulous about this thing would be kind of affirming, because I love God so much, my body, I want to be so great. I'm like, if you did, you would certainly know the word at the very least. And they say, I know the word. I'm like, really? You know the word the way you know about these chemicals? And what I find is the folks that are researching this stuff, perhaps they're really in the word, but usually that sort of scrupulosity in these categories doesn't come with somebody who's very heavy on this. And I think that's a pretty damning statement, right? Because if that's you, I'm not being mean to you. Maybe this is God just saying to you, hey, you got to check your motives a little bit. So
yeah, speaking of motives, do you think it's more driven by fear or by wisdom
to eat healthy and stuff? I think,
like the obsession with, like, if you're that scrupulous about it, is there's this weird built-in, like, I want to live forever?
Yeah. I don't see, like, I think people have that. I think there's really a fear of death. Mm-hmm. That's, again, as a Christian, Christ conquered death, like, right. So but I think there's just a general anxiety, and I think people are bored and they want a cause. And I think they have anxiety about everything, thinking that so here's the sort of the Gnostic kind of dream, right? Is that, okay, man, if I could just feed my family. And so especially women, they're placed under this stress all the time with like, you better feed your kids the right stuff. Oh, that has red dye this. If you feed your kids the right stuff, it starts right when you're pregnant, right? Take the right vitamins, feed your kids the right stuff. Make sure you have the right, family time, make sure you balance this, make sure you have the right real estate. If you get all this right, you're still going to die and it's all going to go away, all of it. And it's going to decay. And then you still see super healthy people that die. And so it's not to say don't do anything. It's just, you're not in control, and you have to accept at a certain point, you're a creature. You're not the creator. Your days are exactly numbered. So the real reason we have a skull isn't because we named him Larry. That's not the reason I like skulls. Is that they're religious symbols. They're memento mori. It reminds us of our death, which is a sign of wisdom. It reminds you that your days are limited. And so normally, so much of what we do, so much of the anxiety and the problems are derivative of the main problem, which is death. And death affects everything. It's the shadow over everything we do. It's the reason why when you go on vacation, you get sad when it's over. It's the reason why these things are happening, is that death is the main problem that we tend to ignore. We forget, we try to ignore that we're going to die, which is why we're always surprised when someone dies. And it's the main thing that Christ accomplishes in conquering. He defeats death for us. Well, so for most of us, death affects us in things like FOMO, fear of missing out, and anxiety. Well, there's a great book, Remember Death, by, I don't know, Matt something or another, not me. I wish I wrote the book. And in it, he talks about this idea, but one of the premises is that with death, it makes us have this fear constantly, like dads, we talked about this with the kids. Man, if I'm working or if I do this, what if I miss that game? Or what if I miss this thing? And we're all stressed out constantly about not missing these moments. And there's this sense of like, because they're going away and they're precious and hold on to them. And it's true, but they're not just ending. Like in the Bible, the best example is that if you knew that this was the end and the last meal, you got to try to make sure you don't eat too much of this or that because you want to fit it all in. Like when I go to the Brazilian steakhouses, right? You don't want to have any carbs. You want to save all the room for the meat because this is your last chance. But if you just found out that you're going to this amazing meal and this is just the appetizer, right? And so that's kind of the whole point of Jesus in this first miracle of turning water into wine. He's like, this is just the appetizer. The best wine is still to come. Like this life is an appetizer. And so if you miss a little bit, if I don't make it to the bacon wrapped shrimp, the main course is going to be coming and it's awesome. That's what I'm here for. And so that's still to come. And so for a lot of Christians, we're like, I got to get this right and that right. I don't want to miss out on this. I don't want to, it is, again, it's antithetical to the Bible. The promises of God are to give us joy, to rest in him. So we're not afraid of death. And yeah, there's unhealthiness and yeah, you might die, but you're going to be, if you're a Christian, when you die, you're instantly with the Lord and it's awesome. And you're going to have a glorified body. So remember, the same way I want to push back against people trying to manufacture Christ's kingdom here on earth, Christ is coming to bring his kingdom. It's going to be perfect. It's the same thing that happens with people's health. You're trying to manufacture a glorified body. Well, Christ is you already have one waiting for you. So stop trying to manufacture. Like, that's good. I'm starting to preach. I'm going to stop. But that's the basic issue. I don't know what motivates people ultimately. I think there's all sorts. It's the same thing that motivates us to do a million things. Like, there's people that are experts on like what motivates someone to do, go to Pokemon conventions or what motivates someone to do,
Do you think you're a cigar smoker. I know people take issue with that. Do you think that steals from, I love the appetizer because I think you can have a McDonald's cheeseburger to the glory of God.
Absolutely.
And so you can have a cigar to the glory of God. Do you think people in like pushing crunchy Christianity on people removes their ability to have glory in all things?
Yeah. And it's also stupid because let me just remind ourselves, like people, like we don't have all the facts all the time. So first of all, nutritional things, it's not that we can't know things. You can know a lot of things. Like if you talk to somebody on Survivor, someone's starving, a McDonald's cheeseburger is a net good. They need the calories, they need the fat, they need the nutrition in it. And so we're focused on, because we're a fat culture that's overeating, on the things that are bad for us. But in general, we forget that food it's not just bad or good, right? It's not like this is bad food, this is good food. All food gives us calories and nutrition. If you're starving, you need that. If you're in a calorie deficit, you need the nutrition. So I'm like, what about the trans fats? I'm like, if you're starving, it's more healthy to have food than not. And so, for example, even when I was rowing, like sometimes, like if you looked at like protein bars, Snickers, they put one in there just for fun in one of the studies, and it was like way up there, like top, 3 or something. In other words, like what we think we need. Now, I think we're more educated somewhat in society. Like there's more access to information, but it's still so confusing. We know, there's so many different ways, and there's always quacks that are making money. If you're blood type eating, remember that was a thing a few years ago. And then I'm a big fan of try out whatever you want, but try to remind yourself what your goals are. If your goals are, I want to do this because it's better, that's not a good goal. Like the goal needs to be, I want to lose some weight, or I want to get buffer, or I want to get leaner. But then you still have to ask yourself what that's worth, right? If you have to be the person that wants to, if you're not a bodybuilder and you're like, I'm not going to have that go to my birthday, eat the birthday cake with my kid, like what's your problem? Like there's something, it's out of balance again. And so, and a lot of people's dreams are out of balance. Like you say you want to do this stuff, but you're not going to do the workouts that you need. You're not going to plan your life to do this. And so, making good decisions is boring. It really is. Mm-hmm. And Nobody wants to see it. And there's no group called the Making Good Decisions group, right? Like the neck tattoo that says make reasonable choices, that's not exciting. So it has to be, instead of make reasonable decisions about nutrition, it's the system is out to oppress us. And so again, I know the bread lobby and I get it. It's just, I'm talking about nutrition.
I just love your ill-timed cough. I know.
I'm obviously like my eyes are watering, my ears. There must be an endocrine disruptor in
Probably.
here. We should cast it out.
I have some of my favorite times during COVID was watching you lose your mind on Tuesday nights talking about civics. Yeah. And I don't even remember what you said, but if you want to go back to the Barabbas Road Church website in
Barabbas.com,
mid 2020 to 2021, and watch the Tuesday night.
The 2022 too, yeah.
Matt is losing his mind talking about vaccine mandates. So with that said, I know in our church, we have organic growth everywhere. There's just a million babies all the time. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But this vaccine issue is huge. I hear this, if anything is wrong with a child, there's just instant whispers of it's because they got the vaccine. So with that said, are vaccines a wisdom issue, freedom issue, or a sin issue? And where do we place
my advice? If you're a Christian, let me just give you this. When it comes to food, vaccines, all of it, this is my best advice I can give you. Enjoy having strong convictions. Like, enjoy the freedom to decide you like things. When it comes to making those convictions moral, where you're saying that people ought and should to do them, like if someone's having a baby and they didn't ask your opinion, shut your mouth. They give them respect to make their own decisions. They're not asking you, like, in other words, people are very opinionated and you sound stupid. And here's the thing. A lot of people are speaking that way during COVID about things. And I haven't got any apologies from anyone that said the stupid things they said. So don't be that person. The Bible says, be quick to hear, slow to speak. And, James talks about the tongue being the words we say matter. And when people jump from one extreme to the next, and we copy people on the media that do this. They say extreme things. The next year they say the opposite. Don't be like that. Right. So be more reasonable when you speak. So if you don't want to get vaccines, don't get them. That's great. It is a totally noble, virtuous thing. Do your research. You're like, I did my research. It's great. Awesome. And you want to tell people because they asked you. They said, you know what? You seem really awesome. Tell me about your vaccine. Okay, great. But that's not it. That's not usually what happens. It's not, it's the person like, hey, make sure you do X, Y, or Z. And I'm like, well, they didn't ask you that. And so God lets us have kids. God lets us, raise them. He lets us have bodies. He gives us freedom to do stuff. We want to be good stewards of it. But this idea that, well, you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, if I can point to you a bunch of people that did it right, they still died. Would you shut up? Because you're oppressing people. It's similar to when Paul says to Timothy, don't get caught up in genealogies and endless dissensions. It's not beneficial. So again, I want to go back to it. If you're spending your time being a vaccine crusader, I wonder how many people you share the gospel with that week. I wonder how many people you read the Bible. So again, it's not that you can't have convictions. It's that it's the centrality of those convictions to your identity in your life that demonstrates that you're way out on a limb. And someone would argue, the people that want to argue with me right now, I'd say, like, yes, but there's two logics for it, right? The first one is who gets to enforce stuff. So like there's a government logic when we say things should be illegal. And like this came about, I mentioned the soda ban. I always use as an example, but back in, I don't know, 2018 or 17, they were talking about maybe doing a ban on soda cups in New York that were larger than 16 ounces or something like that. And I use this as an example in one of our discussions. We were talking about it, and the same thing kept happening. The argument isn't, I would say this is a stupid argument. We shouldn't ban soda cups. And the next statement would be, yeah, but soda is bad for you and diabetes and sugar. And I'm like, time out. What does that have to do with whether the government has the right to enforce how much soda you drink? The moment we say that they do, you've given them the ability to enforce that you can have that much. So that's what the debate isn't about the healthiness. The debate is about your freedom and if the government has the ability to enforce that. And so the fact that we would move to, hey, should the government be able to ban sodas, and we move to whether it's healthy or not, well, that is changing the question. Who cares if it's healthy? The government doesn't have the right to tell you what you're going to do. And that kind of comes in with some nutrition because people say, well, hey, this is bad for you or good for you. I'm a little bit more a big fan of the government regulating such that people can't lie to you in their advertising. They have to be honest about things. If someone's selling you something that's a known poison, it needs to be kind of acknowledged. Like if it's not food, we shouldn't label it as food. And I get it. I mean, like I would like to see our food healthier, and I would like to see not having microplastics and endocrine disruptors and everything. I'd love to see men not having lower and lower testosterone every year. And so there's something wrong. But I guess the conspiracy game is just too, it's a waste of time. It's just a waste of time. I really, back in the day, people lived and they ate bread all the time, and that's okay. Right. And then there's no one with gluten allergies. And I don't know, if you go to Africa, nobody's lactose intolerant, So we create a lot of problems.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who is trying to follow like Israel's food laws? I've heard before not from anyone in our midst, but
like a Christian.
Yeah. Like God made Adam and Eve vegetarian. I feel like this vegetarian is closer to God's design.
Yeah. If you say that, you're, if you want to be vegetarian because you like it, great. If you want to do it because you find health reasons that you think it's good for you, fine. If you say someone ought to do it or should do it because it might make you healthy, even then I'm like, okay, I think you're wrong now. I disagree. But if you say God wants us to do it, you're wrong, and you need to be quiet. That is a dangerous thing. You're putting upon someone a burden the Bible doesn't put upon them. Not only that, God told Peter, rise, kill, and eat. After the flood, God told Noah right after he gets off the ark to eat animals. And so the argument, so here's how I would say, if someone said to me, Adam and Eve ate vegetables, I'm like, cool. So you like the Bible? They say, yeah, I like the Bible. I'm like, great. So then after the flood, when God told Noah to eat animals, we're after the flood. So are you going to eat animals now? Well, no, because Adam and Eve, I'm like, that doesn't, so just stop pretending you care about the Bible if you're going to pick and choose. Like there's an arc, a storyline. And so Anakin Skywalker isn't, later he's Darth Vader. So you can't be like, I like little Anakin. Like that. The arc in the story is what we're having to say. So in the beginning, yes, God says vegetarians, great. And then after the flood, make sure you eat animals. And so we're after the flood. And then if you're in Judaism and you're following the kosher food laws, I get it. But then you have Peter being told in Acts before Cornelius, hey, Peter, all these foods are good to eat now. So if you're a Christian and you're saying, hey, I want to follow Jewish food laws, again, some things you can just be wrong about, and that's something that you're wrong about. Like vehemently, you are incorrect about the way you're reading the Bible in that subject. So if you just want to eat that way, have fun. Do not give it any sort of divine authenticity.
Yeah. So with that said, what do you think of like the Daniel diet and the churches that go on these like?
All right. So I think it's like boomers that do that. The Daniel diet. Okay. First of all, like Ezekiel bread.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I want Ezekiel bread.
Yep.
Well, like an Ezekiel bread, like it's so funny about this. It's what is it? Why do they call it Ezekiel bread? It's like healthy. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Well, in the book of Ezekiel, God's like, make your food over human dung to like teach about make your bread over human dung. He's like, well, no, can I at least use animal dung? He's like, okay. Like, I don't know why you'd name your bread after bread that was supposed to be cooked over human feces. Like, doesn't sound like a good name for bread. The Daniel diet was so funny. Here's the premise of the Daniel diet. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were taken into slavery, right? And they didn't want to eat the non-kosher food of the Babylonians. And so what happens is they said, well, can we just eat vegetables? And here's the key. Here's the miracle of it. They ate vegetables and they got fatter. That's the miracle. They didn't want to look like skinny refugees. And so they looked like more plump and awesome. So if you're being honest to the Daniel diet, the argument is, hey, you can eat vegetables and get fatter too. I don't think that's what most people are doing. So again, it's people borrowing biblical terms to give credibility to their ideas that God's somehow in it, as if there's a secret diet that's going to help you get healthier. Again, it's just trying to separate you from your money, your time, and your intelligence. It's just not wise. You can make good decisions. You can do these things without all the dress up, the cosplay that you're somehow holy. And keep in mind, this is an ancient heresy, is the way we use food and this and that to like make us wiser, better, what have you. The Bible 100% is overtly freeing us from that sort of oppression. And so now let me caveat all this. Being healthy is awesome. It's great to be healthy, but how you get healthy for people is not a zero-sum game. For many people, they just need to move more. They need to like They need to start lifting weights. They need to get a coach. They need to eat less and move more. Most people, I'll give you my advice if you want it. Like it's from the Lord. Do you want to hear some advice?
Go for it.
Here's my advice. So all the nutrition people can disagree. I think that if you want to be fit and healthy when it comes to diet, that what I like to do is I like to pay attention to my general calories, and the only macronutrient I tend to want to look at is my protein. Those are the two big things. I like how much protein am I getting and how much calories am I getting? That's it. If I have too many calories, I'm going to get fatter. If I have too little protein, I'm going to lose muscle. Those are the two things I care about. And the rest of it, I just eat. So that seems to be a good way to do that. You can get more complicated than that, but that's a really easy, those are really an easy, basic thing. No one's asking me that, but, and you can get all complex, but it rules people's lives. I can do all those things and still read the Bible all the time and still, pray and focus on the Lord. You don't need to have a nutrition degree to be able to eat.
Yeah. I had a missionary once say that, gluttony is the overlooked sin of the West. How would you agree with that? Like, now are we supposed to, I think you've said before in sermons, like the weightiness of sin, we have all these organizations for pornography, but no one has the slander club. Like, let's all help people with slander. Yeah.
Well, okay. So there's two things. One, there's a big cultural movement we've just come through on the left, which was happening in the transgender movement, which was also the body positivity movement, right? So it was like the Dove soap and the idea was to show people kind of out of shape in their normal bodies. And there's a positive to that because there are unrealistic standards of beauty, and it can be unhealthy because it makes people unhappy. But I'm kind of a mind that I still want to see beautiful people in advertisements and on TV. That's the whole point, that you just don't have average Joes on the TV. But we live in a culture, you're right, where our food and our habit and our lifestyles generally make us fatter, and people have all sorts of hormonal issues and that make it hard to be in shape. There are societal reasons. There are big reasons to get in shape. You have to do it on purpose. Like, nobody worked out back in the olden days. It wasn't until after essentially the Enlightenment that people would start working out as a thing. Like, people, what do you mean work out? You're gonna lift weights. Like, you just did manual labor. And so you might work out if you're an athlete in something, but it wasn't, just to be in shape. So I think in general now, gluttony and these sins, we can sometimes, it's super unhealthy to be fat. Like, it's super unhealthy to be fat. And we live in a culture where it's really, really easy to be fat. Like, our homeless people are fat, and if you stop and think about that, that's like kind of the issue. When you look at real poverty in the third world, no one's overweight. So we have people that are overweight. We have people that are dealing with that, and that's really, really bad for you, right? To be overweight. I'm really hesitant to make it a sin category. I think we get out of our limb. I think self-control is a category in the Bible, but that's true for a lot of things. I don't think gluttony is even mentioned directly anywhere in the Bible. So it kind of comes from the Catholic 7 deadly sin idea.
Yeah.
I just think leave fat people alone but don't promote them as beautiful either. Like, it's not something we want. Does that make sense? Like, if something's beautiful, let's call it beautiful. And being overweight, beauty standards change over time. But like, if you're overweight, you should fix it because it's bad for you, but you don't have to fix it. You can live it up and be cool with it. Just, what's it like? Lizzo's not the same as like a Victoria's Secret model or something. Not that you should be like, but I'm saying, like, there's categories here. Like, and so we got to be careful that we're like, constantly during this whole time, like a bearded man at a beauty contest, the whole idea is to make you ignore reality. Objective reality is a thing. And so being out of shape, in our culture is so normal. So there's a sense where you kind of have to embrace, like, you're normal. Like, most people are not as lean as they say. Most people that are in the movies and on the TVs are taking like actual performance enhancing drugs for that one scene. When they're getting out of bed with their shirt off or something, like that guy did weights right before that scene, got pumped, had good lighting, did a diet and a cut for that scene. And then you think to yourself, why don't I look like that when I get it? So
yeah. How would you respond to someone who, is currently like feeling self-righteous about the food that they eat? Like, that's kind of what I've been addressing. Like, self-righteousness is terrible. Like, if you're self-righteous about anything, you're
you need to repent. You're an unrepentant sin. Like that's the main person the parable Jesus gives about coming to save, the one versus the 99 quote unquote righteous people that think they need no repentance. Like if that's you, you're in a dangerous zone. If you eat, like it's easy to feel satisfaction to like conquer a goal. Amen. I love that. Confidence comes from knowing that I set a goal and I like reached it. I think that's great too. But anybody that's done that also knows that it's hard, and helping someone take the first steps if they want is great. And there's a process, and sometimes you just aren't ready to do that. Like you're just not ready to really make a change. And so you got to be patient with people during that time as well. So I think self-righteous people in every category are in sin. So I guess that's the best way to say it. So if it's about food in particular, I think not only is it sinful, it's also super ugly and annoying. Like, I don't know, because you're not, yeah. Anyways.
No, you can finish.
Beauty is vain. It's fleeting. You're going to be saggy and ugly at some point.
Yeah. Why do you think this topic creates, like this specifically, there's just so much judgment and animosity amongst Christians? Yeah.
Well, there can be judgment and animosity on every subject.
There is, but this one is very particular.
Yeah.
So much so that there's people in our church that they were like, don't do that podcast. You're going to get murdered.
Well, anyone that disagrees with me, come talk to me. What I'm saying is so much like, if someone comes to me like, oh, no, you got to understand the lobby of this is so big. I'm like, just take your conspiratorial thinking and just be quiet about it. Please. I beg you, as your pastor, if you're at our church and as your pastor, if you come to me about this, I'm going to ask you about your Bible reading. That's my first statement. Like, and there's like a real come to Jesus moment. Like God knows what you're accountable for what you hear. Like let's talk serious here. Mm-hmm. Like if you're serious about all this and you're not serious about the word, you're not a serious person. That's I don't know what else to say. And like the divisiveness.
The divisiveness. Sound smart and say divisive.
There's a lot of reasons. I think that our self-image and the sort of the things we're aiming at, I think for most people, salvation, so to speak, is to be the person they envision themselves to be. And so the good life, the story of the good life we tell is when we're in shape and fit and going here and sleeping well and spending time with the family. Listen, we're all desiring, that's heaven. And there's a glorified body awaiting us. And so what we're arguing when we argue about these things is like miniature little worldviews, and it's all sort of idolatrous. There's a lot, like the image of God, we are image bearers of God. And so it matters. We care how we look. Mm-hmm. Like we care how people look. And so it gets twisted though, right? So instead of seeing the beauty in things, we either ignore reality or we just deify everything, And so I think this is just a category where we're visual creatures, we're image bearers. There's a lot at stake. It does matter that we look good, but we're fallen creatures who are decaying because of the fall, because of Adam. And so it's just fig leaves, and we're essentially arguing about who has the better fig leaf. And the debate is, well, my fig leaf is better than your fig leaf. And Christ, like God had to kill the first death in the Bible is God killing an animal to cover Adam and Eve's private parts. And the reason that was so significant was because they knew every baby born was going to be born separated from God because of them. And so that their shame was in those parts. And so God killed an animal. And so all of this body debate and stuff is literally just our fig leaves. We're just trying to deny the decay that we see. We're trying to deny, well, this will dress us up. It's the same with fashion. Like there's good things and then it just gets overweighted to a certain way. And it's all just fig leaf coverage. That's where words like righteousness, that's where words like systems, they're all fig leaves. I'm like this because the system. I'm like this because this. Oh, if I wore this fig leaf, I'd be better. Again, the answer is put it all aside for just a moment. Just put it all aside and get into this book. And make this the central thing. Get to know this God well. And if you're a Christian and you're focused on those things, it's consuming your time. Again, I keep saying it. Get back to this. You're missing something. Something's way off. And when you put everything tuned up in the right place, those things can still be fine, but they'll be weighted properly. I think it was G.K. Chesterton who said, you don't need the Bible to know how long a snake is, like to measure a snake. But you do need to know the Bible to know whether to worship it or kill it. like how to treat it. Like you don't need the Bible to know if something's nutritious, but you need to know the Bible to know how important that needs to be in your life. And it sounds like a lot of this is people that are completely like a leaf tossed to and fro because this isn't central. And I'm just saying this to you, no matter what side of the aisle you want on these things, if anyone's super strongly offended one way or another by what I'm saying, I guarantee this isn't the center. I'm just being honest. That's straight up.
That's well said. That would be a great place to end it, but I have
2
more questions involving your membership in the communion table. And so Shauncy will now bring the book to the front of the podcast.
Yes, membership.
We haven't plugged it at all. But both sides of the communion line, our church is capitulating to this when they say we have gluten-free wafers and sugar-free juice. And
does anyone say this?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
We have had people in our, and on the other side, we have had people, hopefully not now, but who've come through our church that have said, I don't take communion because it's not sugar-free juice. So what would you say to the person who's like, I can't have a gluten wafer and I need sugar-free juice? And do you think a church is capitulating to?
Aren't all wafers gluten-free?
I don't know.
By definition, it's unleavened.
We used Triscuit crackers.
But in general, everything should be gluten. It's unleavened.
In general, yes, but there's churches that use like saltines and
they shouldn't do that. So okay.
But so we'll stick to the juice, the sugar-free juice. Someone who doesn't want to have it.
I think it should be alcoholic wine.
Yeah. I love that you let me just trump card this right now.
Yeah. Like that's whatever. Okay. Regardless.
Is a church capitulating to crunchy Christianity?
Yes. It's the same stuff as before, but here's the problem. Yes. But I would say this, there's a funny thing that's happened. Our church is relatively large-ish, right? So I'd say like at this stage of this filming, we're between like 600 and 700 on a Sunday, let's say, right?
Sure.
And I didn't know this because this is the only church I've ever really served in, or been in. So this is just my church, and we'll always have people come out, and for years and years, I'll be like, this is a really fit church. Now this is an interesting dynamic because I wouldn't see it, but I've been told that. And it's a funny thing. I'm not advertising our church saying you should come here because it's beautiful people, but we just everyone's in good shape. There's a lot of healthiness. There's people of all shapes and sizes, ages and everything. But my point is, if you're the church is like, you got to eat, we're having this kind of this to attract you. I'm like, one of the things that's interesting about seeing so many fit people is you'll see some people that are really scrupulous about stuff, but some people that are eating hamburgers. Like when I was a personal trainer, I loved eating donuts. That was my favorite food going into the Olympic training. I had 4 donuts a day, every day for 4 years straight. And I was the lowest body fat. I loved it. And it was just nutritionally, I was not getting enough calories. I needed it. I liked it. I could have it. If somebody's so concerned like that, you're playing into a really unhealthy obsession. That's all. Could you have those things? Could a pastor say, hey, we have the option to order sugar-free or not? All right, fine. But if you're advertising it, if someone asks you about it and you say it's sugar-free, they say, hey, I can't have sugar, then maybe you have some for that person, I guess. But like the idea that we put these things front and center, it's basically like virtue signaling that we're so health conscious. And so I'm like, we're health conscious, but we don't virtue signal it. Does that make sense? I don't know. I just think it's stupid. I think it's so ridiculous. Sorry. I can't believe no one does that.
They do that. Yeah.
I can't believe that.
That's okay. You don't have to believe it. Anything else on this topic?
Are they like hipsters? Like who does that?
Hipster churches do it.
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
for sure.
Hipsters do everything. All right. I guess, man, I'm just living in a cave over here. I have no idea about that. That's crazy. Why are people so weird? Can't you just be normal? Like, it's just annoying. Like, I always tell my kids this, don't be the person that's voted off on Survivor because you're annoying. Like, that's annoying.
That's great.
Don't you think that's annoying? You're like, you're the guy. Like, yep. It's not very godly sounding advice, is it? Like, I used to tell my kids this. I'm like, which one of you in the room would get voted out of the room right now in Survivor? And I'm like, that's who the problem is. I'm like, oh man.
That's great. That's good. Well, Matt, thanks for your thoughts on crunchy Christianity. If you have more questions on this topic, go to alotofwordspodcast.com. Click on the I have a question button, answer a question, whatever the button is. It's big and blue. Click on that. Send in your questions. We're going to end with one more question that was sent in, and it's a good one from Levi S. He writes, what are your thoughts on two Christians feeling called by God to marry, but they do so despite not having the blessing of the bride's parents? Let me just pull this grenade and chuck it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Two Christians want to get married. They are both Christians.
They're both Christians. The man goes to the wife's parents and he says, hey, I want to marry your daughter. Dad says no. What should he do?
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Way to go.
Great question.
When I saw that, I was tickled. I was like, oh man, I love it.
All right. So there's a couple things we could do to talk about this. First of all, let's get some brute facts out of the way. The basic premise of asking a dad for the hand of the bride isn't just a cultural nicety. The idea was in ancient, because weddings are an inherited institution from God. And in that inherited institution, the Bible says a few things about husbands and wives, right? The husband is the head of the wife, right? Even as Christ is the head of the church. But before that, the fathers are the head of the household, right? There's the idea here. So that's why when a man gets married, the father of the bride walks her down the aisle and gives her away. That's why ostensibly the last name changes from the dad's name to the new husband's last name. It's now joining this new family. And so in the Old Testament in particular, in the early first century, if you were a bride, it's not like you just had jobs, you lived past a certain age, you were usually married off and you were under the father. So there wasn't like, and if you were going to get married in that environment, you'd have to run away, the dad was the protector, provider, the legal representative of his daughter until she was married, essentially. And so getting the blessing of the father wasn't just like a formality, it was a necessity, essentially, because he was the one that was over her in that way. In our culture, what happens is people have delayed marriage so long that I guess I'd say a few things. How old is the couple? Like if the woman is in her mid 20s, 30, even 40, and the father's not giving the blessing and the person's an actual Christian, it might be the problem of the parent. I think having a pastor in churches help out in that moment might help you have some wisdom. In general, we ought to try to respect our parents. We ought to try to, but sometimes, what if the parents aren't Christian? What if the parents are being sinful? What if it's never just this or that type thing. We ought to do the best we can within reason to live peaceably with one another. And that means in general, we would like the blessing, but it's not, if the person's not like 18 years old living under their parents' roof, it's not as simple as just yes or no. Like parents have a duty to like support their child. And at a certain point when that child is now an adult living on their own, well, that like approval is a little more of a formality and you want it. It's a good thing, but maybe they're not giving it because maybe the parents are in sin. Maybe the parents are crazy. So in that case, if your pastor is saying that's good, if the people around you like it, and then the parents aren't, usually the parents can talk to the pastor, it can help. But I'll say this, sometimes you're deluded. Sometimes the pastor's like, hey, I'm not sure about this. Your friends aren't saying I'm sure about it. And the dad's not sure about it. And you're like, we want to do it anyways. Well, everybody says you shouldn't. So that's not wise either. So I think it's just like we said before, it's one factor among many. In an ideal world, you get the approval first. If they're not giving approval, there's probably a reason you should know what it is. And it's not just, they've got it out for me. Sometimes it's a reasonable thing to say, hey, they don't want it because they want the husband to have a job or they want the husband to do this or that. Well, then that's a reasonable thing. And so you say, okay, well, here's what we're doing. What would this be? But sometimes they're unreasonable. And so I don't know, I think it's better than living in sin to be married. I think there's a scale that can change during circumstances. And so my answer is, I guess the circumstances dictate that.
That was a lot of words on that question.
That's the best I got. I mean,
think good.
No, because sometimes you have a parent that's not a believer saying no for no reason.
Yes, very true. Yeah, that does happen quite a bit. Thanks, Matt. I'll save the other questions for next week, but I do want to get to, does it slap?
Oh, yeah.
And so
that seems to be
this is high priority.
Yes.
We had a question.
I actually used the word slap the other day because of you, and I was almost disappointed in myself. I was like, that slaps. And I'm like, what the?
I'm trying to start a movement.
Yeah.
And
all right.
Slowly working. All right. The smell of gasoline.
I think it slaps. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
gasoline.
Yeah, this is a continued list from Big Brad, by the way. He had so many.
Okay, the smell of gasoline. I love that.
I already know your answer to this next one. Speedos.
I love Speedos.
Yeah.
I wore Speedos for years. I was a water
Same.
polo player.
Yeah.
I kind of
Shauncy, do not AI our image of me and Matt in Speedos.
don't do it. Speedos are great. I just think they're so European and silly.
They're very
at the same
European,
time.
yeah.
I just think if girls wear bikinis, no, I don't know. I think Speedos are. I think short shorts for men for like swimming are better like than the long baggy ones.
Oh, yeah.
But if for sports, I get it. I don't know. Maybe I'm anti Speedo now. If you're Tom Selleck, you can do the short shorts. That's the way you should do it. Yeah, no, I mean, that's the proper length of shorts for men if the men were to wear shorts, but they shouldn't wear shorts, we said.
All right. Slaps if you're Tom Selleck. Potential slap if you're
Well, no,
not
Tom Selleck shouldn't wear Speedos either.
Oh, he's got to be like 80 now.
I think athletes that are doing sports that require Speedos can wear Speedos, but I think everyone else, you're European, and that's kind of a weird thing. Mm-hmm. Like, remember we were playing volleyball and that one Italian guy comes up in the Speedo to play volleyball with us, and it's very awkward.
Oh, I remember that very vividly.
Yeah. Or if you're a bodybuilder and they're your posing trunks.
And then kind of tying into that, what we talked about earlier, Zins or other nicotine pouches. You're like, why wouldn't you just have a cigar? So does
I don't do nicotine pouches.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
But do they slap?
I don't know. Hey, I bet they do.
I bet they slap.
But that's the problem. Like, yeah, that's fine. Nicotine has some really great benefits. If you want to talk about it, that they're actually.
Yeah.
Does that sound crunchy and crazy?
No, not at all. I cannot tell the.
I don't want to go down on this road, but I mean, I smoke a lot of cigars. I love them. The people that don't, the people that are against me smoking cigars, I'm probably healthier than them. Is that a rude thing to say?
No, that's a true thing.
So I'm like, I don't want to get into a big discussion.
My Zin story is pretty funny.
But what is this Zin story?
My Zin story is I had never had one.
It's this little pouch, right?
It's a little pouch, and I know the benefits of nicotine. I understand it. It's similar to a cup of coffee, and for my stomach, I did not want an afternoon cup of coffee. And after Sunday, I was kind of dragging, and I'm like, I got to go into my small group
because your hormones.
So I'm sitting microplastics. So I'm at the Connect desk, and another small group leader in our church, who I know has them, he's like, I have a Zin. It's like a low powered Zin. I was like, all right. And so in my mind, I was like, why? I was like, it's coffee. I'll just take it. And so I'm talking to this couple, and the room just starts spinning. And so I was like, I'm sorry, I have to spit my gum out. I just like threw it in the trash. And I was like flying till like 5 p.m. And I was like,
that sounds like it slaps, but I don't know. The people like it. I think that if you were into it, you would do it all the time.
Yeah, Big Brad, big Zin guy. That's why he asked that.
I think that it's probably...
I wouldn't recommend your first time to be in church.
I don't think that, I think stuff like that, you have to have balance and sense of like knowing how to use stuff.
I was told it was low power. I don't even want to know what the high power is.
Goodness gracious.
Matt, thanks for another episode of Does It Slap?
There's only a few things we did well.
What should the people do?
Smash that subscribe button or you're in sin. Just kidding. No, you're not.
Exactly. And they should also
mere membership.
Buy this book. Larry has nothing to add. He's dead. But speaking about that, it's Larry. It's close. It's the American version of Maury. You mentioned Remember Death, The Surprising Path to Living Hope. It's by Matt McCullough.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of my favorite books. It's why I got a giant tattoo of a skull on my arm. So that's a shout out to that book. Matt, if you're listening, share a podcast. Shauncy, anything to add?
I don't even know if the guy's cool.
Keep shouting. Probably not. Keep giving shout outs to Shauncy in the comments. Keep giving comments.
Yeah, send in your questions.
Send in your questions. Hit the big blue button. Buy books, buy a mug, buy a shirt, buy a hat.
Yeah, and the crunchy stuff. If you want to get all mad, just don't get all mad at each other in the comments, maybe.
Exactly.
Or do it if that makes us.
They should duke it out.
Don't do that. That's silly.
No, what?
But it is the vaccines and the aliens are.
All right. We'll see you next week after Easter.
Come to Barabbas Road Church.
This will be after Easter.
Oh, I'm preaching the week after Easter too.
And then I'm preaching the week after that.
Don't say that.
So come in 2 weeks.
Yeah. All right.
All right. We'll see you. Hey, Matt, you know what really slaps?
What?
Our subscribers, the people who watch the show, you each week. So thank you. We appreciate you tuning in each week to listen to the A Lot of Words podcast.
Make sure you like and subscribe and watch the videos to the very end. It's great for us. Make sure you comment, and it really supports the channel. And we really love hearing from what you have to say, and we're excited to keep doing this.
And buy a mug.